traditions. Our services are virtually indistinguishable from Orthodox services, Greek Orthodox services especially, but we are in communion with Rome. Pope John Paul II wrote an encyclical called Olha that says for the Church to be truly Catholic, it has to breathe with two lungs. The Western lungs, that is the Roman Catholic Church, and then the Eastern lung, which is the 22 self-governing Eastern Catholic churches, of which the Ukrainian Catholic Church is one. That's all I say about church politics. This is an architectural event, let's do architecture. Our church was begun in 1971. Construction on the structure itself ended in 1973. First liturgy was held here on October 14th, 1973, on that glorious fall Sunday. These walls were white. The windows were clear. The pews that you are sitting in were not here. The icon screen behind me was not here. We had some work to do. It took until about 1978 to complete everything that you see before you here today. The church is built on a basic plan of a Greek cross. Two arms of exactly equal length meeting exactly in the middle. What is the symbolism of the Greek cross? You can tell by the ends of the pews where you are sitting. One can draw a perfect circle around a Greek cross. A circle is a symbol of infinity and a symbol of perfection. Two words that can be used to attempt to describe God, hence the shape of the Greek cross. You enter the church at its western end. The west is where the sun sets. The west is the symbol of darkness. The first room you enter into is called the narthex. It is small, it is cramped. When those main doors are closed, which is actually most of the time, it is dark in there. It is not somewhere where you want to hang out for very long. It represents the unredeemed world. As you move through the second set of doors, you move east. You move toward the sunrise. You move toward the source of the light, and you find yourself here in the temple of the faithful. This is where we participate in the liturgy. This is where we stand, sit, kneel as appropriate during liturgical services. This is where we worship. When we are here, we face even further east, toward the altar, toward the sanctuary that already represents the world yet to come. The world yet to come is in the furthest easternmost, most light-filled part of the church. So, west to east, darkness to light, unredeemed world to redeemed world to the world yet to come. There's also a north-south element. In the northern hemisphere, the further north one goes, the colder it gets. So what do? In the north transept, we depict scenes from the life of Jesus Christ that are humbling events. The main icon is the crucifixion, the ultimate humbling event. On the left is the entry into Jerusalem, Palm Sunday, a humbling event. Jesus being taken down from the cross, again, a humbling event. On the ceiling, two more. Christmas, the Feast of the Nativity, Jesus being born in a stable, in a cave, a humbling event. And then Jesus accepting baptism from his own servant, John the Baptist. So, north, cold, humbling events. We turn south. We turn to where it's warm. Or at least the further south one goes, the warmer it gets. The main icon is called the icon of the descent into Hades. Jesus Christ, having been buried and risen from the dead, goes down into the depths of hell itself and lifts up all of humanity from its proverbial tomb. He lifts up all of humanity as symbolized by our forefathers Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve being everybody's parents, not just some parents. All of humanity is saved and lifted up from its tomb. On the left is the resurrection of Lazarus. On the right, you have the appearance to Mary Magdalene after the resurrection. On the ceiling, two more glorifying events: the glorious transfiguration of the mountain and the descent of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. So, in the south, where it's warm, you've got glorifying events. In the north, where it's cold, you've got humbling events. Darkness to light, humbling events to glorifying events. Both horizontal planes have a meaning in this space. So let's do the vertical as well. High above us, in the dome, there is the icon of Christ, Kraton is a Greek word that roughly translates into He who sees and cares for us all. Coming down, there are the legions of angels, and after them are the Old Testament kings and prophets. The dome is, of course, the circle. We've already talked about that. Perfection and infinity. Coming down from the dome is the glorious crown of light with which Christ crowns his bride, which is the church. On the pillars are depicted the four evangelists because their writings are the pillars of the Christian faith. And finally, we have the arches. The architecture formation picks up on this and puts us in the brochure. The arches symbolize the fact that it is in this physical space God bends down the heavens to touch us here on earth. So, darkness to light, west to east, cold to warm, north to south. There's a vertical element. Let's add time to the mix. As I mentioned, if we take part in the liturgy, we are here, we face east, we face the world that is yet to come, that is not yet happening. When the liturgy is taking place, the doors in the middle of the icon screen will open, and we will catch an even better glimpse of that. But within the icon screen, there's a hidden meaning. To the immediate left of the doors, there is an icon of Mary and the baby Jesus. To the right is Jesus in an adult form, if you will, holding an open book. A theologian will tell you that these are icons of the first coming and the second coming of Jesus Christ. The liturgy that we celebrate now here on earth happens between those two temporal events. So we have physical directions and physical space conveying a spiritual reality, and now we have a temporal element for those of us who still exist within time, represented as well. A quick word about the icon screen. Of course, it's where your eye is focused. It draws you in. It's carved out of wood by a gentleman named Moses. The theme is a vineyard theme, which harkens to scriptural references and scriptural parables about the vineyard and Jesus Christ himself describing himself as the vine. The vineyard, excuse me. That's about all I have. So I promised it would be quick. I hope it was. If anybody has any questions, please do feel free to come up and ask. In the meantime, I think the Ukrainian Cultural Center